Call of Duty has been around for a long time, and in a few years it'll even be 25, and you know what that means.
Brother,
The very first one was released back in October of 2003, and for nearly 21 years they've come out with a game every single year. There are very few other franchises that have come out with this many games that are still relevant to this day. For the first few years of Call of Duty, it was known just as another World War II game. It wasn't until 2007 that Call of Duty made a change that set them apart from other FPS games that were out there. And that game was Modern Warfare. The Call of Duty creators, in more than a way, stepped up their game quite a bit in this game. The campaign felt more cinematic, more refined, and immersive, and it commenced the golden age of Call of Duty. Man, what a time. The intro to each level has these cool little maps that are satellite images that make you really feel like you're in a modern setting. There's just so much that they put into this game that really set it apart from any other Call of Duty or any other first-person shooter out there. As far as I'm aware, there wasn't any other Call of Duty that had levels that weren't just action-packed with you shooting stuff the whole time. And there's a couple of levels like that in this Call of Duty. In this particular mission, it puts you in the shoes of Yasser al-Fulani, who is the president of a country whose government is getting overthrown, basically. This whole mission is just you driving throughout the city, and you see some pretty terrible stuff going on around you. And eventually, you reach your final destination. And this is where you see Imran Zakhaev for the first time. Kind of a mean-looking dude. And Zakhaev looks completely normal, but he's no southpaw. Sadly, President Al-Khalil doesn't make it through this level. There's another level just like this later on in the campaign as well. You're basically fighting to help ensure that a nuke doesn't go off. You're playing along, doing your thing, and...
All U.S. forces be advised. We have a confirmed nuclear threat in the city. NEST teams are on site and attempting to disarm. I repeat, we have a confirmed
what?
Everyone, hang on!
Oh, fire! Oh my goodness!
You wake up, and all this level is just you trying to crawl to safety. It doesn't give you any kind of direction, it just has you crawl outside of the rubble of what once was the helicopter. And when you finally get out, you get to see the aftermath of the explosion. I think this is an advantage of telling a story like this in a video game as opposed to a movie, where you're put in the place of someone that just went through this. Seeing a mushroom cloud like this would be absolutely terrifying. When I first played this, I remember thinking that somehow the main character was going to survive, because you can't have the main character that you're playing as die, right? But ultimately, everything just goes white. It's levels like that that make the story mode in this campaign much more memorable than any other Call of Duty that had come before. The modern setting also helps out quite a bit. Call of Duty Modern Warfare is also home to some of the most iconic lines in the series.
Right. What the hell kind of name is Soap, eh? How'd a muppet like you pass selection?
Look at this place. 50,000 people used to live in the city. Now it's a ghost town. Never seen anything like it.
Remember, switching to your pistol is always faster than reloading. Nice! Your fruit killing skills are remarkable.
One thing that we can't forget is that this game has a plethora of great levels, such as the first mission named Crew Expendable, where you infiltrate a cargo ship, or the mission where you use night vision goggles to rescue Nikolai.
Get off of me, swine!
Not that Nikolai. There's also the AC-130 mission, just don't hit the church. And of course, the mission that is considered by many people to be the best Call of Duty mission ever, All Gillied Up, where you play as Captain Price and you're trying to stop Imran Zakhaev from making an arms deal. The deal involves nuclear fuel rods from Chernobyl, and so of course they have to put a stop to it. I'm going to do a separate video that goes into more depth with this mission, but the gist of it is that you're sneaking around and ultimately trying to get to a vantage point to where you can take Zakhaev out. Once you get to that point, you patiently wait for the right moment to take your shot. One of the things I love about the remastered version of this game is that if you look at one of the cars, you can actually see Makarov and Yuri in the car. Moving back to Zakhaev, he really wants to do this deal. One might say he's willing to sacrifice an arm and a leg. Maybe just an arm. Another thing I like about the campaign, and this is done in other Call of Duties, but it has these famous quotes whenever you die. Here's another one. When I decided to revisit this game, I wanted to get the coveted Platinum Trophy. But I have this game on Xbox, so it's 100% achievement completion, but that doesn't sound as good. There were really only 3 things that were really hard to do in order to platinum the game. The first one was to finish the firing range in under 15.1 seconds. The second thing was to complete the campaign on Veteran. And in my opinion, it's tough, but it's not as tough as World at War. And a big reason behind that is because there's not as much grenade spam in this game as in World at War. But one thing that the two have in common is that there are several levels where the enemies just keep coming non-stop. And it almost feels like you're playing zombies. You take out the enemies, you have to keep moving forward, otherwise the enemies will just keep spawning in the exact same spot. Like this right here. For the most part, the levels aren't that bad, but one level in particular is super tough. It's the level after All Gillied Up, where Captain McMillan gets injured, so you have to carry him around until eventually you get to the exfil site. Once you're at the exfil site, you have to hold off a bunch of enemies that just keep swarming in until eventually the helicopter picks you up. I spent probably a solid 2 hours trying to figure out how to finish this level. It's hard because there's like 3 different directions that they keep coming at you from. I would try camping in different spots, and I couldn't find anything until I found an area that was basically on the other side of the map from Captain McMillan. So when the helicopter would arrive, I would have to dash to go grab him, and then I would have to run to the helicopter. I remember thinking, sweet, we got it done, the worst is behind us, and then what? Okay. Fool me once.
If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
I'm just gonna have to be even faster this time. Okay, here we go. Hurry. Gotta make sure I don't snag on this rusty car or rusty bench or get shot at. Or get snagged on these guys. Oh, okay, here we go. Okay, 3rd time's a charm. I just had to get locked and loaded this time. After fighting off more enemies, I was ready for that mad dash. I'll never want to do that again. Anyway, I finally got that level done, and then I got to this last mission here, where you gotta take out Zakhaev once and for all. Things kind of go south, and then they go really south, where you get hurt, and then... Not Griggs and Gaz. Wait, where's Price?
Yes, got him!
Overall, I thought the campaign was awesome. It was really challenging, and the story was great as well. It introduced new elements, and it made you care about the characters that were mostly killed off at the end of the game, but that doesn't matter. The last thing that made getting platinum on this game so hard was the infamous Mile High Club. When I first played this game all those years ago, I remember thinking, how in the world can anyone complete this on veteran? Fast forward to 2024, and after 5 hours and hundreds of tries, I was finally able to get it done. You have to time things so well, and you also have to be smart with your flashbangs and conserve your ammo right. There's just so much that can go wrong. And the last part is very chaotic. Take a look.
Keep moving. Tango down. Target neutralized. Now would you fire up here? We're looking for a civilian.
Last thing I want to mention about the single player is the intel challenges. As you collect them, you unlock these cheats, such as a bad year, which turns the enemies into tires. You also have the lemonade cheat as well. I really hope they bring this back at one point. Now, the multiplayer was a huge game changer. Obviously, playing the remastered multiplayer accentuates the difference between COD 3 and COD 4, but just look at how basic COD 3 was. You could at least choose your team at the beginning of the match, which was kind of cool, but there were no perks and there was no class customization either. There were just 7 different classes that you could use. COD 4 had all the customization in the world compared to COD 3. Nowadays, it's considered very basic compared to the kind of customization that we have now. Since I've been playing Call of Duty for so long, I remember the days when guns were more defined. Meaning, if a gun, like the M16 in this game, absolutely dominated lobbies, there wouldn't be an update a month later completely nerfing the thing. When you would think about one of these older games, it was easy to think about the guns that absolutely dominated. Nowadays, it's more of a flavor of the week kind of thing. The addition of perks was a huge upgrade, and many of the Call of Duties since this game have had that same 3-perk setup. Not all perks were created equal. Martyrdom and Last Stand were some of the worst perks ever. There were so many great maps in this game too. For example, you had Crossfire, Backlot, and Shipment, which seems to be Infinity Ward's version of Nuketown, because it's in like every Infinity Ward game. Skill-based matchmaking gets brought up a lot these days, and for good reason. It's so frustrating when you have a good game and then you just get punished for it. And it's a reason why a game like X-Defiant is gaining popularity these days. And it's why revisiting a game like this is like a breath of fresh air. I love to go back and play these older Call of Duties because it takes me back to a simpler time. I love this Call of Duty, and if we didn't have it, we might not have Call of Duty today. This game started the golden age of Call of Duty and introduced elements that are still used in new releases. What are your thoughts? Thanks so much for sticking around and watching. If you have any other Call of Duty games or other games in general that you want me to make a video on, let me know. Thanks for watching and have a great day.
It fooled me, we can't get fooled again.